The alien commander's head burst open, splattering viscera as Fleet Commander Adrien Cole's titanium gauntlet smashed into its skull with unprecedented fury. Adrien surveyed the ruins of the Siri mining colony, rage boiling within him. The Valiant miners had been ruthlessly slaughtered by the Zipper invaders. Among the captured was his brother Neil, facing unimaginable torment. Adrien turned to the shaken miners, steeling their nerves for a desperate pursuit. Humanity's survival now depended solely on their shoulders. They knew little of the chances their ragtag force held against the vast Zipper Armada, but they had no alternative. Adrien vowed to tear the galaxy apart to rescue his brother, showing the Zipper the consequences of angering humanity. With a firm grip, Adrien pinned the Zipper against the cold metal wall, a jagged metal shard held to its throat. The Zipper, defeated, finally revealed the mothership's destination, Zeta Reticuli, for the harvest. Adrien nodded to his team, faces hardened by loss and fury, as they manned the consoles and set course. The scout ship, now a Trojan horse for humanity's hope, slipped away into the vastness of space. As they sped towards Zeta Reticuli, Adrien and his crew maneuvered skillfully between patrols, blending in seamlessly. Despite tense moments, they remained steady, trusting in their mission. Upon arrival, they observed the monstrous silhouette of the mother ship, readying themselves for the chance to strike, to save lives, and to avenge losses. Lieutenant Sarah Kim, aboard the mining colony, stood firm, fortifying defenses and holding the line against the Zipper onslaught. As the scout ship docked, Adrien led his team silently through the hatch, resolved to teach the Zipper why humans should never be angered. Navigating the foreign controls, Maria worked swiftly while James and Jonas manipulated stolen tech to hide their human signatures. Hours of practice in the Zipper language paid off as they infiltrated the communication network, learning of the Zipper's evil plans. Upon discovering Neil's location, Adrien's resolve tightened. They would board the mother ship, free the captives, and make the Zipper regret their actions. With a nod, they prepared for the impending battle, knowing the stakes were high. Disguised as the enemy, they approached the mother ship with caution, every step reflecting their determination. As they ventured deeper into the base, Maria and Adrien exchanged silent communication, acknowledging their progress. They passed towering Zipper soldiers, dwarfing the humans in size, yet the aliens paid no heed to the disguised team. Adrien's hand hovered near his concealed gun, poised to draw if necessary, as they ventured deeper into the ship towards the core where the prisoners toiled. Heat intensified, mingling with the stench of molten metal and sweat that permeated the air. Hammer strikes and muted cries echoed ahead, signaling the presence of their captured comrades. Entering the overlook unnoticed, they observed humans toiling below, illuminated by harsh lights in the cavernous dig site. Adrien's fists clenched at the sight of the exhausted prisoners, including his brother Neil. Jonas directed Adrien's attention to two agitated Zipper officers engaged in a heated discussion about an ancient weapon buried below, the very tool the humans were forced to unearth. Though rage simmered within Adrien, he maintained control, recognizing that this mission transcended a mere rescue operation. It was about halting a power that threatened the stability of the galaxy. The group slipped away unnoticed to strategize out of sight. Adrien spoke firmly but quietly, emphasizing the urgency of freeing the prisoners and putting an end to the dig. Maria nodded, her eyes ablaze with determination. "We need a distraction. I can trigger a grid failure to draw the guards away," James proposed, holding a stolen control device. Their planning halted momentarily as a patrol of Zipper soldiers passed by, oblivious to the infiltrating humans. Taking advantage of the distraction, James skillfully manipulated the stolen tech, causing chaos within the ship systems. Alarms blared, lights flickered erratically, and the Zipper scrambled to respond. Seizing the opportunity, Adrien's team swiftly made their way to the dig site, blending into the chaos. Unseen, they descended upon the weary prisoners, igniting hope and strength among them. Tools became weapons, and the Zipper's control slipped away amidst the turmoil. Planting explosives unnoticed, Adrien led his brother and the others back through the ship corridors. As they reached the exit, a blast shook the ship, burying the excavator and the ancient weapon deep under stone and debris. They made their escape back to the scout ship, free and ready to return home. Watching the Zipper ship fade into the distance, Adrien reflected on the resilience of humanity. The Zipper had learned the hard way that angering humans brought severe consequences, lessons Adrien and his crew were determined to reinforce. Inside the mother ship, Adrien and his team hid in the shadows, preparing to execute their plan. Maria deftly programmed a virus to disrupt the ship systems, while Jonas received a coded message from the human miners below indicating they had explosives. With a new plan in place, Adrien rallied his team, emphasizing the importance of timing. They unleashed the virus to cripple the ship systems before heading to the mines to trigger the explosives with Neil and the others. Their actions would strike the zipper from within and without, ensuring the safety of humanity and the downfall of their oppressors. Silent communication passed between them, conveying their determination and unity in the face of adversity. As they boarded a small craft and descended towards the heart of the zipper stronghold, Adrien saw the miners below, weary yet unbroken, ready to reclaim their freedom. The team moved among them with purpose, igniting a spark of hope and rebellion that would ultimately lead to the zipper's downfall. Chains shattered as Adrien's team fled to the transport, leaving the crippled zipper operation and ancient power unclaimed. Adrien glanced back as they ascended, a stark testament to human resolve. They had delivered a resounding blow. The Zur had fatally underestimated them, a mistake Adrien ensured they wouldn't repeat. An ear-splitting alarm pierced the silence aboard the Zipper mothership as angry red warning signs flashed across the screens. Excitement coursed through Adrien's team. Their stolen uniforms had effectively concealed them, and the virus they unleashed had paralyzed the enemy ship, leaving corridors unguarded and halls dim. Leading the charge silently but swiftly, Adrien's team moved closer to the cells, the virus shielding them from detection but not from sight. They remained focused, shadows on a quest for freedom. The cell block was chaos. Guards grappled with confusion as useless screens and dead comms surrounded them. Prisoners, bewildered but ready to escape, awaited their liberation. With locks blasted and doors opened, Neil was the last to step out, sharing a meaningful glance with his brother Adrien before they hastened their pace. Adrien led the ragtag crew towards the ship bay, the noise of pursuit echoing behind them. The rebel Zipper, aware of their escape, sought to reclaim their human tools. In the massive bay filled with ships for conquest, Adrien's group boarded the nearest armored carrier. Amidst the chaos of battle, they stood as equals, defending themselves with skill acquired from their first stand on Ceres. Adrien remained resolute, protecting the miners as they prepared for launch. As the ship's engines roared to life, Adrien and Maria piloted their escape, leaving the chaos of the mothership behind. Enemy fire pounded the shields, but the ship held, a testament to human strength. With a distress call sent, they fought their way through waves of Zipper fighters, determined to survive. Navigating through explosions and wreckage, Adrien guided the ship toward the excavation site, where the planet itself shook from the blasts. Despite the onslaught, Adrien remained determined, pushing through the atmosphere as the planet crumbled behind them. With stars appearing as they escaped the atmosphere, relief flooded Adrien as help responded to their distress call. Just a little longer, he thought, urging his crew to hold on and fight a little harder. The ground heaved beneath their feet as a miner, panic-stricken, slammed the detonator prematurely. Charges erupted deep within the planet's core, sending shockwaves through the tunnels. Rock buckled, machines protested with screams, and dust clouds billowed in all directions. Above, enemy ships swarmed angrily, but the planet's turmoil tossed them about wildly, breaking formation and causing chaos among the pilots as they fought to regain control. Through the cockpit window, Adrien witnessed it all. An enemy ship exploded into a fireball, prompting him to grab the throttle with bulging veins, urging the ship to hold together amidst the flames licking its hull. Former miners, now passengers, clung desperately to anything stable as the ship groaned and shuddered. With the planet violently heaving below and enemy ships veering dangerously close, Maria's urgent shout cut through the chaos. Adrien commanded her to push the engines to their limits, urging them to clear the danger zone. Resolute, Maria complied, shoving the power lever forward despite the ship's protests. As the ship strained under the exertion, escape hung by a thread. Adrien watched the view screen filled with the planet's violent upheaval, every second crucial. Through the chaos, an opening appeared, and Adrien aimed the ship towards it, ignoring warnings and focusing solely on survival. With engines screaming in effort, they pushed through the turmoil, the ship's hull rattling dangerously. Finally, space opened up, and they broke free from the planet's grip. Exhaling in relief and disbelief, the crew shared a collective moment of respite as they left the crumbling planet behind. Amidst the chaos of battle, Adrien's battered ship dodged debris and returned fire, navigating through the barrage with determination. Hands locked on the controls, Adrien yelled over the noise, scanning for their rescuers. Relief flooded through the crew as the Terran Vengeance appeared, firing a protective barrage to cover their escape. Adrien expertly guided the ship into the Vengeance's bay, despite shaky hands and wild readings. As magnetic locks sealed them in, a wave of relief washed over everyone aboard. Through the windows, they watched as the Vengeance's guns blazed, their battered ship now safe thanks to the promise and commitment of their fellow humans. Meanwhile, aboard the Zipper ship, commanders and planners whispered uneasily, sensing a power shift. Murmurs of respect for humans and the need for change rippled through the group, while doubts lingered unnoticed by the crew tending to the miners. As Adrien rested his hands on the cold metal, listening to the ship's hum and the voices of his crew, he found solace in the music of their resilience and unity. Human resilience was evident as Neil watched his brother's quiet stance, eventually joining him at the window. "You did it, Adrien," Neil remarked. "We all did," Adrien replied, turning to face his brother. "We did what we had to do." Beyond the Zipper, debates about their future raged, and amidst the stars, the hierarchy would never forget underestimating the human spirit. Adrien's boots landed on Siri's dusty ground as the ship's ramp lowered. Squinting in the harsh sunlight, he was quickly recognized by the workers, who stopped and stared before erupting into cheers and applause. Crowds gathered around Adrien, clapping his back and shaking his hand excitedly, acknowledging his daring actions. Amidst the jubilation, Neil found his brother, and they shared a moment of silent acknowledgement before embracing tightly. The crowd's jubilant energy continued as they brought food and drink to share, setting up tables hastily as more miners and nearby residents joined the celebration. Standing on a makeshift platform, Adrien addressed the crowd, acknowledging the tough odds they faced and the unity that saw them through. His words were met with loud cheers and pumped fists, the air filled with a sense of unity and determination. As the night deepened, conversations among the miners turned serious as they discussed the ruins of the ancient site and the buried excavation, pondering the secrets and power that lay beneath. Adrien listened and joined them, emphasizing the importance of their newfound freedom and the opportunity to shape their own future. On the Terran Vengeance, Lieutenant Sarah Kim oversaw repairs and resupply, acknowledging Adrien's report with a slight smile. The crew worked diligently, aware of the impact of Adrien's actions on humanity's reputation in the Federation. Without the need for reports, Adrien saw the recognition of their worth in the eyes of every miner and settler who looked to him. In the briefing room on Ceres, tension filled the air as leaders and military personnel crowded around the table, awaiting Adrien's report. He stood firm, delivering a steady assessment of the Zipper's split ranks and the potential for retaliation. Plans for defense and training were outlined, with Adrien emphasizing the need to stay ready for any further threats. The mood shifted to resolve as plans were set in motion, with the acknowledgement that war loomed on the horizon. Adrien's guidance would be crucial in preparing humanity for the challenges ahead, ensuring that they would push back against any threats to their freedom and security. The Zipper's power had faltered, and humans seized the opportunity. Smaller groups formed, plans were made, and orders were given. Steel rang in their voices as determination filled the room. All understood the gravity of the situation and prepared to unite. In a corner, a strategist spoke into his calm. "Start drills in 1 hour." The storm had begun, and this time humans were the thunder. Lieutenant Sarah Kim paced back and forth on the Vengeance's cold metal bridge, the crew working quietly on glowing screens. The weight of recent victories and losses hung heavy in the air as Sarah's boots clanged against the floor with each step, matching the tension inside her. Suddenly, the comms beeped loudly, and a message from the Zipper scrolled across the screen. It was an unexpected request for a direct talk. Sarah's breath caught, but she remained composed as she accepted the communication. The Zipper envoy, wrapped in dark cloth with only bright eyes showing, appeared on screen. "Get to the point about this mutual benefit," Sarah said sharply. The envoy, known as THCK, leaned forward, expressing concern about a rogue faction within their ranks and proposing an alliance to stop them. Sarah listened, weighing the risks and potential rewards. "You expect us to forget the war and trust you?" she challenged. THCK insisted that the rogue faction threatened them all and that survival, not trust, was paramount. Sarah considered the offer carefully, recognizing the potential for shared resources and safety but wary of depending on a former enemy. As Sarah contemplated the decision, the envoy assured her that they had also suffered losses and that it was time to end the crisis. Ultimately, Sarah agreed to consider the terms, knowing that every choice could lead to either peace or reignited war. Back on Ceres, Adrien surveyed the aftermath of the Zipper attack, the air heavy with the stench of burnt metal and fire. He called up reports from other vulnerable outposts, recognizing the failure of the Federation's peace dream with the Zipper. As more reports came in, Adrien remained steadfast, determined to understand the situation and protect his people. When faced with Zipper envoys offering intelligence on rogue bases, Adrien saw it as a potential opportunity for alliance, but he demanded proof of their commitment. As night fell and shadows stretched over the damaged land, Adrien knew that the fight was far from over. But with strength building and hope on the horizon, he remained resolved to protect his people and take the fight to the rogues. With the knowledge of the long vigilance ahead, humans would stand tall as equal players on the galactic stage. Adrien crouched behind the wall in the dark cargo hold, spying through a hatch. He breathed steadily and slowly, mirroring the hum of the ship's engines. A line of Zipper ships stretched ahead, their hulls appearing as dark mirrors in space. Adrien checked his weapon, feeling the hard grip and cold metal. "We're ready, Captain," Ellis whispered beside him. She moved like a ghost even in combat gear. "Signal the team, Mark," Adrien said in a low rasp. Ellis raised her hand, and foreshadows emerged. No words exchanged, just sharp nods. Humans on an alien ship, each step risky. They had learned the value of silence. Adrien dropped his hand as Ellis hacked the bay door controls, causing it to slide open with a faint whoosh. The guarded convoy lay exposed inside, and they slipped through as guards milled around crates. Clicking sounds of Kitine shells echoed in the dim light, and the team rested on them as they moved swiftly to their targets. In one smooth move, Adrien's team took down the guards, securing the area amidst the chaos of blasts and bodies hitting the ground. With the alarm blaring, Adrien grabbed a high-ranking Zipper uniform, showing status, and dragged the officer into the hold. "Tell me about the convoy," Adrien demanded, gripping the Zipper's arm tightly. Fear and resignation flickered in the Zipper's eyes as it spoke of traitors and splinter groups, trembling under Adrien's gaze. Locking eyes with Ellis, Adrien nodded grimly as they left with the captive, their hearts heavy with betrayal. Back on their ship, Adrien's heart pounded with distrust. Stars blurred past as they pulled away, silent witnesses to the treachery within. Adrien stared at the Zipper officer in the chair, determined to stop the killing. "You did the right thing," he said calmly, signaling the guards to secure the Zipper. As he strode down the narrow metal halls of the base, his boots echoing off the floors, Adrien knew that humanity would rise together against betrayal, both within and without. The traitor spewed lies, a concoction of greed and anger wrapped in peace politics. Adrien shook his head in disgust. "Lock him up. He'll stand trial for this betrayal," he ordered, his voice laced with determination. News of the foiled assassination attempt spread rapidly, eliciting shock and relief from both humans and Zippers alike. They openly discussed narrowly avoiding war, thanks to Adrien's decisive actions. Later, in a secure place, Adrien convened with Zipper and human leaders. The mood was tense, burdened by the gravity of what almost happened. "This was close," Adrien remarked, his shoulders back and his tone firm. "But we have a chance to end this cycle of betrayal." Silent but firm agreement rippled around the table as talks commenced, delving into the hard issues between species. The traitors were caught, but their plot served as a harsh reminder of the fragile balance. The alliance would be stronger now, built on the truth uncovered and disaster averted. Adrien felt the resolve of humans and Zippers harden. They would move forward together, cautious but hopeful, with the shadows of lies swept away by the light of unity. In the summit room, tension filled the air as leaders from both sides deliberated their next moves. Adrien observed from the periphery, keenly aware of the subtle signs that hinted at deceit. Amidst the charged atmosphere, a human delegate's suspicious actions were swiftly intercepted by Adrien, preventing a potential disaster. As the summit resumed, the mood shifted, marked by heroism and a newfound determination to forge a lasting peace. Terms were hashed out, agreements reached, and a ceasefire was born. Adrien watched, acutely aware of the fragility of the peace they had achieved, yet hopeful that it would endure. Outside, stars burned bright against the backdrop of endless blackness, indifferent to the fragile peace below. Yet, for the first time in a long while, a glimmer of hope remained. Adrien's actions had not only prevented disaster, but had also paved the way for a new era of equality and cooperation between humans and Zippers. "Minor damage, but testing us," Ramirez remarked, his concern laced with anger. Adrien stared at the blinking Aridana, acknowledging it with a silent nod. They had anticipated this scenario. Every response now held the weight of determining whether they would escalate to war or maintain peace. Launch Peace Hawks, defense only.
No counter.
Get me the war signard, Adrien commanded, his tone resolute. Opening communications, Adrien faced the Zipper war consort whose eyes narrowed in response. We know about Eridani. This is not our peace, Adrien stated firmly, maintaining an even tone that echoed with determination. Rogue ones, unsanctioned. We will investigate. The consort rasped, its discomfort evident. Investigate quickly. Our truce is fresh. It must be stronger, Adrien replied, holding the alien's gaze unwaveringly. Hours passed with the screen blinking out intermittently as Adrien directed restraint. Peace Hawk ships hovered at the border, their presence a stark reminder of human resolve. Despite the tension, Eridani remained quiet, the days passing in a silent standoff. Adrien lay awake, contemplating the billions relying on the delicate balance of peace, aware that each victory in silence was a thread in the fabric of peace. As Adrien surveyed the war room, he couldn't help but feel the weight of responsibility resting on his shoulders. With reports and messages stacking up, the impending meeting would determine their course of action, whether to push for peace or prepare for conflict. Lee's entrance brought him back to the present, her weariness mirroring his own. We're hanging on by a thread here, aren't we? She remarked, voicing the uncertainty they both felt. The meeting commenced, humans and aliens alike gathered to shape history. Adrien pondered whether they would stand together or fall divided, knowing that their decision would reverberate throughout the galaxy. As Adrien made his way to the room, the weight of every choice and every life saved bore down on him. Crew members nodded in acknowledgement, their eyes reflecting the stories they had lived. In the meeting room, leaders gathered, with human faces set like steel and alien scales shifting in the dim light. Conversation ceased as Adrien entered, and a human leader addressed him as commander with respect, while the aliens turned cautious yet respectful. The silence spoke volumes. Standing before them, Adrien commanded the room with his presence, wasting no time on greetings or pleasantries. We're at a crossroads, he began, his voice steady. We build something lasting or brace for a storm that rips us apart. An alien stepped forward, questioning the notion of trust in the face of human conflict, and murmurs rose. Adrien met its gaze squarely, explaining, We fight to protect our own, but we've bled together. We have the scars to prove it. Adrien scanned the room, emphasizing the fragility of peace and the need for champions to uphold it. A human leader joined him, echoing his sentiments, and heads nodded in agreement. We choose now, Adrien declared. Alliance or war? An alien grasped his hand in agreement, invoking the shared goal of safeguarding future generations and the stars that lit their dreams. With strategy and hope blending seamlessly, pacts were made in handshakes and nods, sealing the agreement. Exiting the meeting, Adrien felt lighter yet more determined, knowing they would fiercely protect the fragile peace they had built. As he paused in the hallway, he understood that the choices made here would ripple through time, and humanity resolute would stand as guardians, regardless of the cost. Darkness enveloped the border outposts as explosions pierced the night sky, signaling an attack. Adrien's wrist comm blinked urgently, alerting him to the border's assault. Calling his team, they geared up swiftly, their eyes communicating readiness without the need for speeches. Lock and load, Adrien commanded firmly, as the dropship hurtled through the darkness of space towards the source of the disturbance. Upon arrival, amidst the wreckage and smoke, Adrien led his team in a meticulous search for clues. Discovering a fragment marked with strange symbols, Adrien realized they were dealing with outsiders intent on sowing discord. Relaying the evidence to both human and Zipper leaders, Adrien urged them to consider the facts and unite in the face of a common threat. The joint investigation led to a breakthrough, with both sides agreeing to work together to uncover the truth. As suspicion gave way to understanding, a crack formed in the wall of mistrust, paving the way for cooperation and shared purpose. As Adrien watched the morning light brush the quiet border, he knew that unity was their strength and the first signs of a bond forming in the morning light. The Zipper coiled tight, ready for action. This bust would expose the rot they had sensed but couldn't grasp until now. As the figure approached the freighter, one of them pulled back their hood, revealing a scarred face. Adrien's heart raced. This was it. Lee, again. Confirm target, he said urgently. With a fluid motion, Adrien rose, followed by his team, moving with deliberate and measured steps. The team embodied human precision and zipper grace, a silent menace stalking the steel docks. Sensing something awry, the broker turned, but Adrien was quicker. He fired a web, tangling the broker in unbreakable fibers, his rifle promising custody. Despite the broker's struggles and curses, Adrien remained resolute. "You can't do this," the broker protested, but Adrien aimed his rifle firmly, asserting, "We can, for arms dealing and conspiracy." Securing the area, both humans and zippers worked efficiently, ensuring the safety of the area with soft clicks as weapons were safely stowed. With electric cuffs securing the other figures, the broker glared up at Adrien, anger etched on his face. "You've no idea what you've started," he hissed with venom. "We'll see," Adrien responded evenly, feeling a sense of satisfaction. Inside the ship's hold, they found data pads and encrypted drives, along with weapon racks, testaments to betrayal. Hours later, Adrien stood in the war room with human and zipper leaders, displaying the broker's vast network. Lines connected officials, planets, and outposts, each line a fracture in trust. As accusations flew and confusion reigned, Adrien's voice cut through the chaos, urging them to see who truly benefited from their conflicts. The revelation sparked shock, disgust, and realization among the leaders, as they leaned in to examine the exposed evidence. Behind the glass, the broker's smug smirk faded, replaced by fear. "This changes everything," a leader remarked, echoing Adrien's sentiments. "We must purge our ranks together," another concurred. Addressing the room, Adrien emphasized the choice they faced, to clean house or let the rot fester. The room stilled, and a pause ensued before nods of commitment emerged from both humans and zippers. Outside, indifferent stars burned brightly, but in the quiet room, resolution formed. A united front against corruption, with humans and zippers standing shoulder to shoulder. Adrien studied the data on his wrist screen in the tight briefing room of the stealth ship, surrounded by his team. The stakes were high. Plans for a giant zipper weapon threatened countless lives. "This isn't just about us," Adrien reminded them solemnly. "If this weapon fires, everything dies." The ship shuddered as it left warp speed, revealing the enemy base looming in space. The team prepared silently, their resolve solid as they floated through the airlock like ghosts with guns. Inside the enemy base, they moved with precision, planting charges to cripple but not destroy. As explosions rocked the stronghold and alarms screamed, they made their escape, leaving behind a weakened enemy but ensuring the threat was gone. Back on the ship, as they watched the base shrink away, Adrien felt a sense of accomplishment. They had shown the galaxy that humans weren't just data. They were defenders and warriors, ready to protect and fight for what was right. As starlight flickered in his gaze, Adrien realized that underestimating humans had been a grave mistake. The assembly hall buzzed with voices, a large round room accommodating various alien species, its dome ceiling projecting a live hologram of the stars amidst which they battled. At the heart of the room stood a big round table, where representatives from Earth and Jir sat facing each other, their eyes fixed on the screens displaying the plan. Walking in with confidence, Adrien's uniform exuded perfection, adorned with medals from past battles that shimmered as he moved, a testament to his victories and alliances forged. Seated among other leaders, Adrien appeared relaxed yet alert. A tall zipper with green scales tapped the table to command attention, and the room fell silent, the only noise being the gentle glow of the stars above. The zipper's gravelly voice boomed, translated for all to understand, outlining the gravity of the attack and the rebels' intentions to harm them all. Heads nodded in comprehension as the significance sank in, with whispers growing among the attendees, some in agreement and others unsure. A woman from Earth leaned forward, her voice strong as she questioned the leadership of the proposed force. All eyes turned to Adrien as the zipper pointed a claw at him, endorsing him as the leader. Murmurs of approval echoed in the room, prompting Adrien to rise, his voice resonating across all corners as he pledged to protect the peace they had built, emphasizing the unity required to face the looming threats. Nods of approval rippled around the table, even from those who had previously harbored doubts, as a new badge for a joint peacekeeping team appeared on the screen. Hands reached across, shaking in solidarity, while the stars above witnessed the formation of new bonds and alliances. Stepping back, Adrien's mind raced, already contemplating the intricate balancing act required to maintain peace among different species. As the meeting adjourned, Adrien's real challenge began. Outside the hall, his team awaited, their expressions serious but determined, fully aware of the arduous task ahead. With a slight nod, Adrien signaled for them to begin, his gaze catching the glint of starlight on the metal walls, a silent witness to the promises made within. Entering the control room, Adrien found chaos unfolding, with lights flashing and voices shouting urgently. Despite the turmoil, he remained calm, a beacon of stability amidst the turmoil. The colony on Titan was in turmoil, rocked by violent earthquakes that tore through buildings and sent people fleeing in terror. Urgent messages flooded his wrist calm, urging him to act swiftly. Calling upon the HFY commander, Adrien pleaded for assistance, emphasizing the urgency of the situation and the need to set aside past grievances for the greater good. After a tense moment of deliberation, the HFY commander agreed to help, albeit with a watchful eye. Massive HFY ships descended upon Titan, deploying stabilizing technology that quelled the violent tremors and restored order to the chaos below. As dust settled and people emerged from hiding, a sense of wonder and relief filled the air. Cameras captured the historic moment, broadcasting the unity between humans and HFY across networks, a tangible proof of their ability to overcome differences in the face of adversity. Addressing the crowd, Adrien pointed to the still-standing buildings and the smiling faces of children, declaring it as a testament to unity. Cheers erupted, and hands clasped together in solidarity, marking a pivotal moment in their shared history. Watching with swelling pride, Adrien realized that cooperation was no longer just a concept but a lived reality, one that held the promise of a brighter future for all. As his tech officer worked the keypad, sparks flew and the door slid open. Inside, the rebels braced for battle, hastily erecting barricades of pipes and metal. However, doubt was evident on their faces. They recognized that this conflict pitted brother against brother. Stepping forward with his hands raised in a gesture of peace, Adrien began to speak. "This isn't the way," he asserted, addressing the rebels. "Leaving the HFY means turning against your own kind. But together we can fix this." A rebel woman locked eyes with him, her gaze as dark as the space beyond. Her hand hovered hesitantly over her gun. She clearly hesitated, torn between her desire to avoid bloodshed and her sense of pride. Suddenly, a young man lunged forward, weapon aimed, fear evident in his eyes. Adrien swiftly incapacitated him with a stun blast, moving in with his team to disarm the rebels efficiently. As the rebels were subdued, the woman's eyes reflected a mix of defeat and hope. "We just want to be heard," she said. Adrien nodded, offering assurance. "You will be. As part of this alliance, together we stand, divided we fall." The coup ended swiftly with the dissidents detained. Through precision and mercy, peace prevailed, and Adrien's reputation grew as a leader who valued both justice and compassion. Facing a diverse crowd, Neil stood before them, his voice resonating throughout the room. "I'm not a soldier or politician," he began, making eye contact with each individual. "I'm a survivor." As he shared his experiences, the room fell silent, captivated by his words. Neil's proposal for a program to aid those affected by the conflict received overwhelming support, bridging the gap between humans and HFY. In the days that followed, the center buzzed with activity as Neil worked alongside HFY therapists, sharing stories of survival and hope. Laughter filled the common rooms, signaling a newfound understanding and unity between the two peoples. From afar, Adrien watched, recognizing that this was more than just a recovery. It was a testament to the resilience and strength of both communities. Entering a dimly lit room, Adrien found himself face to face with the broker, whose cold demeanor contrasted sharply with the warmth of the surrounding shadows. As they negotiated, Adrien remained composed, carefully weighing his options and considering the lives at stake. Despite the broker's attempts to manipulate the situation, Adrien stood firm, determined to protect the fragile peace that hung in the balance. The data chip served as a stark reminder that peace teetered on a knife's edge. Outside the cockpit, the space illuminated as the peacekeepers clashed with the Zipper fleet. Adrien focused on his targets, methodically blasting ship after ship into clouds of debris. With each shot, the explosions reverberated through the empty void. "Keep them off us. No surprises," Adrien ordered, his fingers tensing on the trigger. The crew swiftly responded, their hands flying over the controls as they fired back against the relentless attacks. The ship shuddered under the barrage, the Zipper ships closing in, tightening the noose. Tension mounted among the crew as they felt the gap narrowing. Desperately, the peacekeepers dove through the zipper formation, attempting to break their ranks. Amid the chaos, a crewman shouted, his voice hard as steel. Adrien checked the radar and saw a swarm heading straight for them. "Hard turn, full power," he yelled, the ship groaning in protest as it dodged the attack. Though the ship scraped paint, it emerged relatively unscathed. However, the battle raged on, cannons roaring and alarms wailing. Then, disaster struck as a direct hit sent the ship reeling, alarms blaring as the engines died. "We're hit, life support's on, but we're dead in space," the crewman reported, his voice strained but steady. Adrien gripped his chair, realizing they were stranded. "Damage report, now," he barked, his eyes darting to the flickering screens displaying grim statistics. As the chaos ensued, Adrien received a message from Lieutenant Sarah Kim, reassuring them of their support. Despite the mounting pressure, Adrien and his crew continued to fend off the relentless attacks. When the Zipper warriors attempted to board the ship, Adrien made the decision to fight back. "Lock and load. They board, they bleed," he declared, his crew nodding in agreement as they prepared to defend their vessel. The airlock hissed open, and the Zipper warriors charged in, gunfire erupting in the tight space. Adrien and his crew fought with unwavering determination, pushing back against the invaders with relentless fury. Despite the odds stacked against them, they refused to succumb to defeat. After a grueling battle, the Zipper ranks began to thin, and eventually, the vengeance arrived, providing much-needed reinforcements. As the tension ebbed away, Adrien leaned against the wall, relieved that they had narrowly escaped disaster. Walking into the war room, Adrien was met with reports of fights and secret missions. Despite the victories and losses, he remained focused on the living, acknowledging their triumphs and pain. He addressed his team, emphasizing the importance of the Peace Academy plan and the sacrifices made for peace. As he watched the recruits undergo training, Adrien knew that they were building a legacy that would honor the sacrifices of those who came before them and uphold humanity's strength in the face of adversity. Adrien entered the makeshift gallery, where the walls were adorned with paintings. Zipper delegates shuffled alongside human artists, their eyes scanning the artworks in an attempt to grasp the human emotions depicted. One Zipper extended a clawed hand, gently brushing against the rough canvas, trying to comprehend the emotions portrayed. Nearby, a guitarist played haunting melodies, his fingers dancing over the strings, filling the room with captivating music. Though music was universal, the passion and sorrow in the humans' performance were foreign to the Zippers. Yet, humans and Zippers alike gathered around to listen, sharing in the raw emotions conveyed by the music. In another corner, a philosopher spoke eloquently, weaving tales of human history and beliefs. The Zippers stood wrapped in attention, absorbing the unfamiliar ideas presented to them. Adrien observed the understanding dawning in their eyes as the divide between the species began to crumble, replaced by shared experiences. A Zipper poet attempted to recite a human poem, stumbling over the rhythms but persevering in his efforts to bridge the cultural gap. Despite the imperfections, the humans applauded his endeavor to share their culture, fostering camaraderie between the species. Over the course of several days, laughter filled the halls as photos of human moments drew crowds of Zippers. Debates sprung up between Zipper scholars and human thinkers, leading to an unforeseen friendship between the two species. On the final day, Adrien stood amidst both species, surrounded by artworks and applause. They had shared their essences and found common ground, laying the foundation for lasting peace between humanity and the Zippers. As Adrien scanned the gallery, filled with art and music, he envisioned a future built on mutual respect and understanding. However, his moment of peace was interrupted when his security chief approached him with urgent news. A human hate group planned to assassinate him for making peace with the aliens. Adrien's heart raced as he viewed surveillance footage of the suspect among the crowd. Swiftly, his security team apprehended the suspect, averting the threat unnoticed by the gallery attendees. Despite the failed plot, Adrien remained resolute in his commitment to peace. Addressing the room, he emphasized the importance of unity in the face of fear and hatred, determined to build a better future together. "We must strive to be better, to take a collective breath." He gestured around. "This is our future. Unity, not division." Thunderous applause erupted as Adrien stood before the packed crowd in New Athens Hall. Faces filled every seat and corner beneath the curved metal ceiling. Workers, soldiers, teachers, parents, the colony's heart. All had gathered for this open meeting called by Adrien to address the whispers, anger, and fear. Stepping to the bare podium with hands visible and face open, Adrien spoke. "We're at a crossroads." His voice echoed off the walls, causing murmurs to ripple through the crowd. "The attempt on my life tried to silence me, but I won't hide or be quiet," he declared. Clicking a button, holograms appeared, depicting humans and Ziffers working together, joint projects, shared research, and even children learning side by side. "This is reality, not the hateful lies," he emphasized, pointing to the images as he moved closer, boots thumping the floor. "Dialogue and education are tools, not weapons." Scanning the front rows and making eye contact, Adrien addressed the skeptical and the curious alike. As a man stood angrily at the back, Adrien acknowledged his pain, saying, "Yes, we've suffered, but think what we've achieved together." The man wavered, then sat, as Adrien continued. "Education shows the benefits of cooperation. It challenges false narratives." He let his words settle, emphasizing the testimonials and voices of lived cooperation displayed on the holograms. "We're changing minds, and our actions are proof." As the meeting ended quietly, people stood in groups, talking openly and pondering Adrien's words. Outside, the sun dipped below the horizon, but the colony buzzed with activity. In classrooms, students studied histories and languages, while teachers explained nuances and answered questions. In the commons area, a chef and nutritionist unveiled a joint food venture, combining flavors and techniques, while laughter rang out from tasting sessions. In the barracks, soldiers watched operations with Ziffer allies, studying strategies, and in the command center, officers planned joint exercises, their voices determined. Adrien watched unseen, smiling at the future's foundation of transparency and education. Later, as Adrien looked at the hologram floating over the table, showing the broker's newest black market, selling Earth and Ziffer history to the highest bidder, he declared, "Not this time." Tapping the biggest stash, he said, "We take back what's ours." The team stood ready, humans and Ziffers handpicked for unity, their faces hardened by loss but willing to risk more. As they boarded the stealth ship, slipping past patrols unseen, breaths hung in the air, focus sharp. Their mission, a heist with purpose, to retrieve history. Sarah approached with a floor plan, and as they went silent until breach, Adrien nodded, understanding the stakes. Boots echoed as the team exited the ship, their calm demeanor masking their determination to reclaim history. Not a single step further. Smugglers hesitated, eyeing the containers with steadfast faces. They had already lost too much. Soon, the smugglers bound the artifacts safe, sharing an exhale. Mission done, a series unveiled, relics brought humans and Zippers together. The past returned, threads of culture restored, ties strengthened. Adrien watched the task force beside him, witnessing the heist as a victory over greed and for unity. Proof that the tide of war could recede. Peace, a shared precious thing. More than a commander or symbol, Adrien stood as a guardian of fragile, resilient hope, hope etched into the united essence. Adrien looked at the star map on the bridge of the Terran Vengeance. The swirl of planets and stars showed a new, unclaimed system, rich in resources, untouched and ready for both humans and Zippers to utilize together. He moved his hand over the spinning hologram, highlighting a new planet glowing. "This planet can power us for the next 100 years. We can build and grow together," he stated. The Zipper officer next to Adrien leaned in, intrigued by the idea of working together. "A shared colony," it said into its translator. "This would help both our economies and bring more peace." Adrien turned and looked into the Zipper's eyes, affirming, "Yes, it's not just about the resources. It shows we can work side by side, build homes and jobs, making life better for all." The humans and Zippers on the bridge nodded in agreement. This was a good plan. A human lieutenant had an idea. "We should tell the council right away. We could start in a year if we move fast," they suggested. Adrien smiled, agreeing. "A little speed is good, but we'll make careful plans first," said agreements. "This is the start of our future together." The Zipper officer reached out its long, thin hand, and Adrien shook it firmly. "Together," the Zipper said. Adrien nodded in agreement. The Terran Vengeance's command room buzzed with activity. Zyrtecs worked with human engineers, their screens showing maps, charts, and timelines, every piece of data moving their goal forward. In the meeting room, humans and Zippers filled the seats around a long metal table. Adrien's plan lay in the middle for all to see. Tara King died down as Adrien spoke clearly. We have a special chance here. This new system is open to us both. It wasn't just a plan. It showed a shared future. Adrien continued, think of colonies where our young can play together, use both human drive and zipper strength. The tall Jur ambassador stood up, stating, your vision is bold, Commander. We're with you. Cheers burst out. This was a new start after centuries apart. They ended with handshakes and backslaps. The two species mingled as friends. On the survey ships, human scouts worked with zipper guides, scanning the asteroids and planets of the new system. The asteroids had metals and ice to mine. The planets had lakes and rivers under their skies, all holding resources for life and growth. The ships landed on rocky ground, churning up dust. Crews came out with equipment, checking every rock and soil sample. All the data helped plan the future colonies. More ships brought eager colonists and building materials, ready to break ground and start a new life together. In the common areas, humans and zippers traded stories of home, laughing together and sharing dreams. They made new dishes from both worlds and ate with joy. On the bridge, Adrien watched a simulation of the first colony, domes and greenhouses rising from the dirt, machines working the fields, while humans and zippers walked together. This is what we strive for, Adrien said out loud. Not to rule, but to build, create, and live in peace. The crew worked hard with purpose. Their calculations would help the dream come true. Ships full of supplies and colonists set course for the new system, ready to shape a galaxy of peace. Adrien stared at the three Drath across the table, their dark eyes shining in the light, their scaled skin glittering metallic as they shifted in their seats. The room was quiet except for the ship's engines. He scrutinized the treaty on the tablet, absorbing every word, recognizing the weight each part carried, either symbolizing peace or war. The Drath desired the system as their old home, although they left no signs of living there. Adrien cleared his throat, the sound cutting through the silence. We acknowledge your claim, he said evenly, but the system has resources we all need. There must be a way to share. The lead Drath leaned forward, its sharp teeth lining its jaw as it spoke in a deep rumble, translated by the device. Sharing means equals. Drath do not share power, it declared. Adrien met its gaze straight on. Yet here we speak as equals. Both our people could lose much without compromise. Let's find common ground. Hours passed. The talk resembled a chess game, each side seeking an advantage. Adrien employed every tactic and lesson he knew from his experiences with peace negotiations with the Zippers. He suggested joint mining, shared labs, cultural exchanges, and offered aid to schools. At each offer, the Drath responded with whispers and hisses, echoing in the small room. Adrien waited patiently, demonstrating silent resolve. Finally, the lead Drath spoke, acknowledging their conviction and the potential in their offers. The Drath will consider this treaty, it announced. Adrien exhaled slowly, nodding calmly. The long talks had worked. This was more than words on a tablet. It was a chance for peace where conflict had once ruled. Thank you, he replied. Our futures depend on the bridges we build today. As the towering Drath left, Adrien stood too. They shook hands, an awkward but sincere gesture between species. When the Drath left the room, the tension vanished. The team erupted in quiet cheers, cautiously hopeful. Adrien watched them, their joy reflecting hope and determination. But his eyes were on the stars beyond the window, where the new system awaited. Its fate now rested on the threads of diplomacy. Work remained, but the treaty's foundation was laid, shaping a corner of the galaxy. An alert buzzed through Adrien's calm, a sharp sting like ice on his spine. He scanned the busy headquarters, danger lurking beneath the bustle. His team fanned out, subtly vigilant. All clear, sir, his sergeant whispered in his earpiece. Adrien nodded, adhering to protocol but refusing to hide. His steps echoed on the polished floor, steady, resolute. Movement in 7A, sir, heading to intercept. A tense but controlled voice reported. Go, backup coming, Adrien replied, veering there. Moments stretched tight as the team converged, swift and precise. A shadowy figure recoiled, exposed, eyes wide, blade gripped tight. Drop it, Adrien commanded, steel in his voice. The figure hesitated, then complied, metal clattering to the floor as cuffs clicked on. The would-be assassin's defiance wilted as agents whisked the Drath away, efficient and clean. In his quarters, a faint tremor in his hand hinted at what had happened. He steadied his breathing, turning to his security chief.
Triple checks, no exceptions.
Get me those feeds, eyes everywhere, Adrien commanded, his jaw set with resolve. The Drath ambassador was informed, posture rigid, eyes hard. We talk. Find the source, the motive. This ends now, Adrien declared. Rumors of Adrien's refusal to cower spread. Not bravado, but a stern look meeting each camera, each eye unwavering. He addressed the coalition openly the next day, no screens, no barricades. His message was clear. One's actions don't define the many. Our treaty stands united by something stronger than fear, principles, he proclaimed. The crowd breathed deeply, his defiance touching hearts, heads held high, fists tight in solidarity. Humanity stood as one, facing darkness with conviction's light. Adrien stood silent in the command room, the offer from the zippers sitting on the table in front of him, the datapad glowing blue in the dark room. He looked at the alien, its silver scales and graceful form waiting patiently across from him. What you've offered goes beyond what we've dreamed. Adrien finally spoke, but with power comes responsibility. A warning, not just a cliché. Around the room, the crew exchanged looks, some with thrill in their eyes, others clouded with doubt. Adrien lifted the datapad, its screen displaying peculiar engines dancing across it. These could take us to new stars, he murmured, pondering the implications. But what does it mean for humanity to accept this gift? Tarek, the Zephyr representative, dipped its head in respect. Commander, your leadership inspires. This offer is more than a transaction. It is an extended hand, a new phase of our alliance. Adrien searched Tarek's face, detecting no deceit. We built our space with sweat and steel, he said, tapping the pad. What happens when we rely on your strength instead? The crew listened in silence, each having fought alongside him, each aware of what their own grit had achieved. Tarek shimmered as it shifted. Consider this, cooperation brought us here. Human determination and Zephyr grace. Sharing strength does not show weakness. It marks a new unity. A young engineer broke in, her eyes alight. Think of the lives we could touch with these engines. Our reach could extend beyond war. Adrien turned to her, seeing his old passion reflected back. But at what cost? The easy path seduces. Can we afford the price? The room stirred with the weight of their journey. The engines meant progress, but also a choice. Adrien set down the pad, sweeping his gaze over the conflicted crew. We will not rush blindly forward, he declared. We'll integrate this slowly, keep our core intact. He looked at Tarek. We accept but stay self-reliant. A partnership, not dependency. Approval rippled through the crew, pride swelling in their chests. Tarek bowed deeply. Agreed, Commander. A partnership it shall be. The datapad blinked silently. Humanity stood on the cusp of a new era, guided by the stars yet to come. The lab buzzed with activity, human and Zephyr scientists rushing around as a new humming engine took center stage. Adrien stood back, arms folded, watching every move. Cables all connected? Core status? He called out over the noise. Ready, Commander. Capacitors fully charged for startup. A technician replied, fingers flying over holograms. Adrien nodded, turning to his partner, Serena, the Zephyr. Is the power matrix stable? He asked. They needed stability for the engine and their shared future. Serena chirped affirmatively. Yes. A soft glow emanated from the engine. This was it, the moment of truth. Adrien watched as the techs backed off. Then the room fell silent, tense and waiting. He nodded and the main tech started the sequence. The engine came alive with a low buzz that grew loud with power, console lights blinking green. A hologram showed good numbers, 97% efficient, stable. Excellent work, Adrien said. Relief evident in the technician's eyes. More than a success here. This kept a promise made, secured a future shared. He smiled, the excitement of progress coursing through the room. Get these specs sent to every colony before the day is done, he instructed. The sounds of progress filled the room as the teams worked, the once alien engine now a bridge between species. Adrien left the humming lab with a last look back. Zephyr and human had created something today. He would see it spread and take root among the stars. This was the future together, fair, balanced, unstoppable. In the control room, Adrien watched the video feed of the ship's engine igniting. The dull roar sent vibrations through his boots as the new propulsion tech hummed with a steady rhythm. Green lights on the console blinked calmly, showing the launch went well. Engineers exchanged relieved looks, murmurs blending with the soft hum of machines. Adrien turned from the screen, observing the mix of relief and excitement among the engineers. The Admiral approached him, her voice low. "Commander, HQ just sent word. They want you to command the first mission into Andromeda with the new drives, a chance to set up a forward base." Adrien glanced back at the screen, the ship now a small light heading to another galaxy. The offer hung before him, a key to unlock the universe's doors. His mind raced back to the peace summits, the late-night strategy sessions. Peace was a fragile tapestry he had helped weave. Could he leave with so much at stake? He turned to Smith, waiting for his reply. His eyes went to the dedicated engineers in the room, each one showing what people could do together. "Admiral, I'm honored, but I need time," he said, his voice heavy with the gravity of the decision. "Things here are fragile. They need careful attention." Smith nodded understandingly. 48 hours, Commander. HQ needs your answer then." Adrien thanked her with a tight smile and turned back to the window. Beyond the glass, stars glittered against the black void, calling to him, the explorer in him longing to map those skies. But duty tethered him here. He thought of the joint missions, the peace talks. Could he leave with so much at stake? The room's silence hung heavy as he weighed his options. One path leading into diplomacy, the other into the abyss of space. He would need to decide soon. For now, he just watched the departing ships, trailblazers on humanity's next great leap. His heart pulled to the unknown, but duty holding the reins. Adrien stood at the frontier of possibility and the edge of duty, his choice still adrift among the stars.